Hello, my name is Nancy Hunter, and I'm here to welcome you to the New Jersey Cybersecurity Conference 2020, a panel on diversity and women in cybersecurity. As I said, my name is Nancy Hunter. I am the Chief Information Security Officer and Data Privacy Officer for the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia, and I'd like to welcome all of the participants. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with some of my favorite people in cybersecurity. We'll take each person and let them go ahead and introduce themselves. But before they do, coming from the Fed, I need to tell you that all of the words that I say are mine and not those that are reflecting of the Federal Reserve Bank or the Board of Governors. I'll be moderating this panel, and so let us begin. I'm joined by Anahi, Santiago, Tammy Klotz, Donna Ross, and Gurdeep Kaur. Gurdeep has not joined us yet, but when she does, she'll come on in and we'll welcome her into the fold. We're beginning with Anahi. If you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, that would be great.
Sure. So first of all, Nancy, thank you very much for moderating this panel. I think it's going to be some really great discussion. And for all the participants, thanks for joining us. And hopefully you will walk away with some nuggets that you can take back into your everyday lives. My name is Anahi Santiago. I am the Chief Information Security Officer for ChristianaCare. ChristianaCare is the largest healthcare system in the state of Delaware, serving the neighboring 3 states, and now with telehealth, hopefully serving the nation. I have been there for 5.5 years. Prior to that, I spent 10.5 years as the Information Security and Privacy Officer at Einstein Healthcare Network in North Philadelphia. So with that, I will hand the intros over to Tammy.
Hi, everyone. This is Tammy Klotz. I'm excited to be here today with my friends and colleagues. So I'm currently the CISO for Covanta Energy based in Morristown, New Jersey. We are an energy from waste organization, so we are responsible for reducing the amount of trash that actually goes to the landfill. And our motto is that no waste is ever wasted. I'm happy to be here today and look forward to the conversation. Donna?
Hi, thank you. Happy to be here as well. My name is Donna Ross. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer for Radian Group. We're a financial service company based out of Philadelphia. Like Nancy and the others, this is not meant to be advice. This is strictly my opinion, and it does not represent that of my firm. And I'm really anxious to hear what your questions are. So Nancy will moderate, and we're hoping we get a lot of input from the audience as well, because this is your session too.
Thank you so much, Donna. And I will repeat what Donna just said. We want to hear from you. So there is a live event Q&A session on your screen, and we encourage you to ask questions, and I will be watching for those questions to come in. But until they do, we have some prepared questions that we'd like to share with you. And hopefully at the end, we'll manage our time, but we will make sure we try to give you some tips moving forward in terms of your career. So tell me, what was the one thing in your career that prepared you for where you are today? I open that up to any one of our CISOs. What was the one thing in your career that prepared you for where you are today?
So I can start. My answers, you may have heard my answer last night, and it's not a traditional response. What prepared me was the 15 years of being a bartender and a server. Being in the hospitality industry is not particularly easy. You don't always have control over what's happening around you, whether it's the kitchen not preparing food fast enough or not being able to get a table. But you always have to face those customers that might not necessarily be happy with a smile and with grace. And so for me, being able to navigate those difficult situations have really prepared me for being a leader in a rapidly changing, very complex field of information security, right? If I didn't handle those situations appropriately, I didn't get my tips, and so I didn't have to eat. So it really forced me to have to navigate difficult situations.
It's funny because what I was thinking was something along the same lines. So my initial training was in marketing. My degrees in marketing communications and economics. And I think as CISOs, one of the things we're constantly doing is marketing ourselves, marketing our teams, because in order to be successful, we have to have those social skills, those engagement skills, those collaboration skills. Then the technical things follow and our achievements follow. But I think having a strong sense of understanding of our consumers, whoever they are, is important. So I echo what Anahi said.
Yeah, and I'll just take it in a little bit of a different direction. So I agree wholeheartedly with what Donna and Anahi offer to the group. From a pure cyber perspective, one of the things that actually got me into the field and prepared me was actually my role that I had prior to taking on the CISO role. Which was in internal audit. So with an understanding around controls and what was interesting and important to the board, to really getting a sense of that. And in that role, I had the opportunity to perform an overall cybersecurity assessment with the company I was with at that point in time. So it really opened the doors to walk into this career and learn a whole lot more about the cyberspace.
And for me, actually, the one thing that prepared me were the support network that I had coming in. So I have continued to use great mentors and my mom, who was a great support person for me, to just do that constant encouragement around, because I always questioned whether or not I could do it and you weren't 100% sure. And they were just so encouraging that it kept me going and really prepared me for this role in that constant over my lifetime, giving me that confidence. All right, the next question I'll ask is, who has been instrumental in helping you be successful? Anyone can start.
Nancy, it's a great segue from your comment, because I think for me, the who are my mentors and coaches that I've had along the way. You know, I mentioned earlier that I started my career early in marketing. And one of my early mentors was the cybersecurity leader. He invited me to join his team, and here I am many, many years later as a cyber professional, as a CISO. So don't underestimate the value of those in your network, whether they're in your family, in your professional life, or in your volunteer life, and look for those mentors and coaches.
Yeah. I think all of us can probably, you know, pick 1 or 3 people that really had an impact on our lives, whether it's personally or professionally. So, you know, for me, they were the folks who encouraged me to be myself, right? And teach others how to build the relationships, but never to sacrifice your standards. So I can go all the way back to 4th grade, and I had a very influential teacher in my life at that point, who I'm still in touch with today. But I can also tell you that, you know, I can pick the bosses that I had throughout my career that really were supportive and helped me be successful in where I am today.
Yes, and Nancy, to your point, for me, I think it's been my mother who has been just a resounding force in my life up until, you know, today. And then in my first job, I had a gentleman who really took a strong interest in making sure that I was successful. And to this day, he's still a present force in my life and a guiding factor. But I think, to everyone's points, I think we've had many people that have been effective in our lives. And I would say, you know, the 3 of you, we collaborate on a daily, if not weekly basis, and all 3 of you have had some effect on my career.
Thank you, Anahi. I'll also say that there have been people that have been instrumental in helping me be successful by teaching me what I don't want to do. And I've had a couple of those people along my career that I'm grateful for, because I saw that they may have made it to points of leadership, but have not been necessarily the people I've wanted to emulate. And I've learned from that. I've learned from really great managers, and I've learned from people both ends. So it's been instrumental in hopefully forming the person that I am today in my leadership style. So thank you.
It's a great point, because you learn what to do and what not to do as a leader. And to Anahi's point, don't underestimate the value of your network. So it's so important to have a vibrant network, whether it's joining, trade associations, professional groups, ISACA, Women in Cybersecurity, any of those collaborative entities that help bring us all together where we can talk.
Yep, this group here of CISOs, we gravitate towards each other, we support each other, we attend each other's events, we try really hard. We introduce other people to one another. It's been a really good network. So I encourage you to don't lose that network. That was an excellent point from both Anahi and Donna. The next question, and we'll talk about the present in terms of looking at jobs. Many people are looking for jobs, especially coming straight out of college or finishing up. They're looking for jobs, and in this market, it's certainly a little bit more challenging. What do you look for in a job applicant? What are some of the things that you look for in terms of hard skills, soft skills? What is it that you're searching for when you have a job opening?
So Nancy, I'll start on this one. So, the things that I will look for in a potential candidate is somebody who is passionate and thirsty to learn and demonstrates the potential to be successful. There's a lot of folks out there who are looking to get into the field. I think sometimes, and you all have heard me say this before, we do ourselves a disservice when we are specifically looking for so many years of experience or certain certifications. And while they're important, I think if we, focus on that solely, we have the opportunity to miss some really good candidates. So those softer skills and that desire is probably more important than the technical skills, in my opinion.
I would agree 100%. I've actually changed positions, and I think some of you have said this before, changed positions from higher level to lower level to more entry level positions, because I think we can teach information security, but you can't teach those softer skills, that hunger to learn, that wanting to grow. And so for me, I want to see somebody that doesn't necessarily have a long career or a long resume, but that is demonstrating that they are investing in themselves, whether it's by building a lab or starting a certificate program or looking at certification, not necessarily having them. That's not the important piece. The important piece is demonstrating that you're investing in yourself, that you demonstrate that you have a true interest in learning and growing, and also that you want to contribute to the organization. So not just prioritizing information security, but making sure that information security isn't important to the detriment of organizational goals. And that cultural fit, that you're going to come in, contribute to the team, and build collaborative relationships along the way that are going to help us all be better professionals.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with what my colleagues have already said. I'm not going to repeat that, but what I'll add to the list is emotional intelligence, because the work we do is very difficult, and having a level of emotional intelligence impacts how we communicate to our stakeholders. And and I would say once we get past the resume part and into the interview part, I'd say do your homework, come prepared, be curious, have questions. Because the folks that I like to hire are the ones that ask me as many questions as I ask them at the interview.
Wonderful point. And we are starting to see some questions come in from the audience. So I wanted to acknowledge those questions, and I'll start to ask some of them. And one of them is related. Is what courses should you join? I've seen a couple of questions come in around, can you identify coursework? Can you identify something specific for me to do? Because they want to learn a lot about cybersecurity, they just don't know where to start. So what would be the point that you would say, what's the starting point for someone who wants to get into this field to learn?
So I often, I get asked that question a lot. And what I suggest is going after something like the Security Plus certification or the GSEC, the General Security, and not necessarily, again, not taking the actual certification, but if you look at the coursework, that teaches you a little bit about every single domain, and that's a place where you can then get acclimated as to all the different areas of information security, and maybe one jumps out at you more than another. And that can be forensics, it can be ethical hacking, it can be training and awareness, risk management. And so I think that gives you a good baseline. I think it's really important to note that information security is not all technical, right, and that there are tracks that deviate from that technical area that might be more interesting for you. So a lot of people think that cybersecurity is all technical and they become a little intimidated as to how to approach it. So I think going through something that covers all of the domains can maybe help you to hone in on one or two that are more interesting for you.
Yeah, and there's a ton of courses that are available online as well. You know, so if you don't want to go the university or the college level, there's a lot of free stuff out there from the colleges at the universities. There's a lot of technical training available. There's organizations like SANS that have online classes for free, or WebExes. NIST has great publications and some training. So really all you have to do is open up a browser and Google it, and you could find some free classes. And then again, to add to the networking element, join one of those associations. You know, you can join Women in Cybersecurity, you can join, InfraGard for free. So there's a lot of free-based groups that you can join, as well as for-fee groups that you can join, and they too provide training.
Wonderful. And to follow up on the training pieces, we have a question from somebody in the audience who says that they don't have a strong technical background and they're intimidated by some of the things that are just difficult for them to learn. And they're questioning whether or not you've ever had anything that is technically difficult for you to learn, and what did you do to overcome the problem? How did you get that certification? How did you get to pass it when you're struggling with it? I can actually start there to say I am an exam hater, hate them, have exam phobia. And what I have found is helpful for me are, one, to study in pods, not by myself, but find somebody else to study with and just bad ideas off of. I usually don't tell anybody I'm taking an exam. So I only have to really take care of myself in that sense. But you've made it this far, and here at Seton Hall, chances are you've taken a lot of courses that have been difficult for you. And so know that you can do it, pace yourself, find somebody to help you study. It's not all about the certifications. That's a way to get into the door. That's one of the many things, but know that you can do it. You can honestly do it. Pick one that speaks to something you're interested in. As Anahi had said, there's lots of different areas to be experts in. Pick something that you're interested in, and that helps you study for it as well. Does anybody else want to speak to that topic?
Yeah, I'll just add a few things, Nancy. So, it definitely can be overwhelming. There's, like Anahi said, there's so many different domains. There's so many different areas of subject matter that you can explore and maybe specialize in. There's other, resources that I would suggest too, is with regards to SANS and ICS squared. They'll definitely be able to kind of guide you. And from a, getting over the technical part of it, yeah, there definitely is a technical element, but not all of it is technical. And from a certification perspective, if that's an angle you want to go down, I highly recommend one of the boot camps that are offered to help you prepare. It's a very intense activity, but it's based upon the pod concept. You learn together, you ask questions. It's in a very condensed time frame. And I'll be completely honest with you. When I took the test the first time, the CISSP, I did not pass. And I had to take it a second time, and that was like a big wow. But you have to apply, and for some of us, it's been a while since we've done that, but you can do it, and never doubt your capabilities in that space.
Yeah, so there is a security certification progression chart that I've seen. I was just looking it up on the internet, my favorite source of information. I'll post it on my LinkedIn today. But it's a great chart. It shows all the disciplines and what to do, and also echoing what the others have said. When I initially got my GSEC, I spent 3 months studying. So like my colleagues, we work, we have other activities. It's hard to pass any tests, but you know yourself, you know how you learn, take as long as you need. If you need to get a study buddy, get a study buddy. If you need to go to boot camp, get a boot camp. There is no wrong answer. There are only right answers. So the first right answer you've already given is that you have an interest in the profession.
Yeah. So there's two comments that I'll share with you that have come into the QA session. One is just a comment that said, one idea is to search for the jobs and roles that are out there that you're interested in. Research the qualifications and do a self-study to begin filling the gaps. A lot of cybersecurity has to do with research and also showing initiative. So those are two things that somebody had brought in there. And then another thing that a comment that was made was, thank you for talking about the importance of soft skills and fitting with the team rather than experience and certifications. The best people are the ones that want the job and want to learn from the leadership. So thank you for those comments. I'm hearing from somebody who is saying that they have graduated in economics from another country, and they're trying to figure out what's their best path to get in. They're excited, but they're nervous in changing their major. What is the most important thing they should learn? Any suggestions there?
Well, the good news for you is my degree is in economics, so I'm living proof it can be done. I think for me, how I started, and everyone has a different journey. I volunteered. I originally was one of the people that built the computers and did the network for Big Brothers Big Sisters. So I wasn't qualified yet to have a job in security. So I went and did it on the side for free as part of my giving back to the community. So I think there's lots of ways to volunteer. I hired someone that actually volunteered at the Civil Air Patrol to do their computers, but he was a pharmacy tech with a degree in cyber and couldn't find a job. So I know people that volunteer at their churches or their place of worship that help with cybersecurity, and now we're running their Zoom meetings and things. So just there are ways to get involved and to show that you have experience in addition to training.
And I think none of us came up as cybersecurity majors because that major didn't exist. Right. And so we've all adapted from other majors. I was a math major. You adapt from something else. So again, you have to use those skills and figure out how they're transferable. And I started out as a programmer, an application developer, and moved my way through, but found something that I loved, and that led me to this area. So encourage you to just look around, put your head up, pay attention to what's out there. It all doesn't have to be that really technical cybersecurity job. It can be something else as well.
And Nancy, you touched on a great point. Like, do what you love, because I love this profession. I love security. When I'm done working at the end of the day, I'm reading about cybersecurity. So this is not a career for me. This is a passion.
I think you find that in almost all of us, that there's actually an excitement and a joy when you start to talk about your job, which brings me perfectly to the next question, by the way. What is happening at work for you on your most fun work day? What is getting you excited when you come into your job on a specific day?
Gosh, so much. I would say the most fun days are those days where you're talking to the team and you're sharing ideas and they're getting excited and they're coming up with really innovative, creative ways to solve a problem. And I just sit back and think, wow, look at them go. They're throwing out things that I wouldn't have even considered. And I've been doing this now for over 15 years. So those are the really fun days, or the days where for us, there's a really positive patient outcome that I know our team affected in some way in the background. We did something that helped a caregiver help somebody's either health or save their life. And I just come home and I glow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for me, I think it's the satisfaction, right, of when you're engaged in a conversation, whether if it's somebody on your team or somebody in the business that you support, who you see the light bulb go on after you've had a conversation with them, and you know that they heard it, they got it, they understand where you're coming from and why why we're doing what we're doing, and it's not just to get in their way, right? So as soon as you have the success in having a business person understand the value of the things that we're doing to help protect and run the company, those are the days that are the best, right? Because you definitely feel like you've made an impression, your story has been heard, and people understand.
So I think the most exciting days are when we solve complex problems. And, it leads to the point that inclusion and diversity is so important in cybersecurity. If we all thought the same, if we all looked the same, if we all acted the same, we wouldn't be able to have that dialogue that Anahi just mentioned and solve those complex problems. So I love just sitting back and being in the room and watching the team interact and solve those problems. And speaking of team, my second favorite thing to do is recognize and reward the team. I love celebrations. I love promotions. I love giving bonuses. They earn them. They work hard. And, now we're doing them over Zoom. We're having Zoom celebrations. We celebrated a graduation this year. We celebrated certifications. But, the feeling of recognizing someone for a job well done is hard to beat, especially when you have a high performing team.
Agreed. And this is comp cycle for us. So literally my meeting right before this was talking about, how can we reward people for a job well done? Other things that I like to do is I like to watch people grow. So to that same thing, when you get that somebody who's come in and afraid to do something, and you look up and they'll say, I'll give it a try. And they do it well. That glow is amazing. To watch somebody who didn't think they could do something take on a role or take on a function and accomplish something. So I'm excited every day to work with my team. This is not a job that you want if you want to be by yourself. It is very much a people job in that others are helping you to accomplish the mission of saving the organization or protecting data or whatever you're doing in that moment. So we have another question that's come in, and it's the question is that they're looking to advance further into the cybersecurity world. What do you think is a better path for them, to get a master's degree or to get certifications? Is there some path that they should take? What would you recommend?
I have an opinion. I would go the certification route, but that's just my opinion, and probably because that's what I did. I think it's obtainable in a shorter period of time with a quicker return. So that's what I would suggest.
And I'm not sure they're mutually exclusive. I think we all make choices that are right for us. There's such a wide range of certifications that there's certainly one out there, but I'm also a fan of understanding the business. So, I think if I was to counsel someone and look to move forward, I think I'd recommend an MBA before a master's in security.
I would agree.
Because knowing the business, being able to talk in terms that your business understands is important. You can couple an MBA with cyber certifications, and I think longer term that will have more value.
Yeah,
that's
I would
great
agree.
Advice, Donna. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say, my degree, full disclosure, my degree is in electrical and computer engineering. So I came up through a very technical track and found myself when in a leadership role, sitting in conversations where I wasn't really versed in the business dialogues. And so I went back and I got my executive MBA because I felt that that's where I had a gap. But again, that's because my degree was really technically focused, and I didn't have the marketing classes and the finance classes. So for me, the MBA was invaluable.
I would also say that to echo all of you, it is not a one size fits all. Mm-hmm. I would suggest that you get a trusted partner or a mentor or someone to help work through your individual career path. And I am living proof that I don't have a master's degree, but years of experience have led me to where I am. So it is not always, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You really have to work out what's best for you based upon your experience, your background, your interests, your existing education, to find that path that's great. And I would 100% echo the business acumen piece. Those are the most valuable times when you can say yes to the business to let them accomplish what they need to accomplish, and you're not standing in their way. You're helping them, and they're seeing you as a trusted partner. You need to learn to do that.
Yeah, no, one thing, the one thing we didn't talk about, Nancy, is obviously there's a financial component to this. And I know my firm, like others, do reimbursement for certain types of learning. So if your company offers reimbursement for masters, that could be a better path for you. Or instead, they might offer reimbursement for certifications or bonuses for certifications. So look and see what your HR department, what your company has to offer, and that could also help your path. So talk to your coach, talk to your mentor, look at your company benefits, and then make the decision that's right for you.
Great point, Donna, because I work for a company that's very, very big on reimbursement, tuition reimbursement, and getting people through master's degree programs and PhD programs. So yes, that's an excellent point. Anybody else want to add anything to that? Okay, then the next question is, now that we've had fun at work, what's the one thing that walks in that causes you concern?
Well, so that's an easy one. Fear of the unknown, right? Those black swan events, the unknown unknowns. And the other thing is the pace that we're seeing now. Like back in the old days when I started, you actually had to be skilled to be a hacker or an adversary. You had to write scripts, you had to do research. Now you can buy it as a service. So it's such a commodity to buy. So you know, it's a lot easier for adversaries to do what they do. And people like us, we have to be right every time. They only have to be right once. So, you know, the biggest threat we face is just that, those unknown unknowns and the ease of the attack vectors.
I 100% agree. You know, being in healthcare for me is having an event that negatively affects a patient's life. I remember at one time having a scare and being on the phone with 37 people that were waiting for me to make a decision. And at the time I thought, if I make the wrong decision here, I could affect the 1,100 lives that are in beds right at that time. But I had to make one because people were waiting and there was no time. And so it was the scariest time in my career. Luckily, we made the right decision and persevered, but it became very real for me at that point in time that our roles are so important and so critical to our organization.
Yeah, and I think, you know, just to build on both of those comments, the fact that a potential event, incident can affect and potentially stop business operations, and that's a big deal, right? It's an uncomfortable spot to be in on the other side of that. So, you know, making sure that our teams are in a position where they can identify that there's something going on in the environment, to isolate and stop that quickly and be able to respond and recover is super important. And, you know, you have confidence in your team and your tools, but it's a daunting thing when you think about it, especially for Anahi, where patients' lives are impacted, right? That, you know, if something happens as a result of a cyber event and you are, you know, held accountable for ceasing business operations, that's a big concern.
Agree completely that we all have these jobs with a lot of responsibility and a lot of impact. And for me, it's the economy. You know, you really mess it up, you can have an impact on the economy. That's bad. I would like not to do that. So it does concern me, and I do want to make the right decision. You want to try to make a decision every time, but I, like the rest of my group, use the people around me to help inform those decisions. I don't have every answer. I don't pretend to have every answer. I truly look out for those to give me some input. So we only have about 7 more minutes. And I want to make sure that we have the time to talk about the future and types of tips that you would want to give people. So I'm going to ask if we can maybe just take a minute and give a few tips that you would want to give people, as we get ready to close out this session, and then I'll continue to look back and see if there are any other questions before we leave. So want to start with, let's say, Anahi, you want to start with maybe some tips you'd want to give to people?
Sure. I think my number one tip is invest in yourself. This is a field where you have to constantly learn and grow. If you skip a beat, you fall behind. And so make sure that you are doing whatever is important to you to grow. I certainly am of the belief that you should you should believe that you can accomplish whatever you set your mind to. I'm somebody that pushes themselves. I run marathons. I like to feel uncomfortable. I used to be afraid of public speaking. Now I seems I can't get away from it. But I had to work at that. And the last thing is really build your network. Make sure that you are growing your network, that you're learning from them, that you are building that community that's going to help you navigate difficult situations and help you help others, which I think is really important in this industry. So those would be the most important ones for me.
Thank you so much. Great, Anahi. Donna or Tammy, who would like to go next?
Yeah, I would say, a reminder that there's a role for everyone in cyber. We're not all black hat or white hat. There's threat intelligence, there's assurance roles, there's hunters, there's analysts, there's project managers, the list goes on and on and on. Get involved, find a mentor, and volunteer and network, join these groups, attend things like this, connect with folks like us on LinkedIn afterward or with other people in the profession. So there's a lot of things you can do, but the most important, I think, is take a risk and stretch yourself to take that first role.
Yeah, and I'll just add a few more, Nancy, right? So my big ones are to be true to yourself, find your passion and pursue it and go after it. And keep learning. Once you stop learning, you stop growing. So invest in yourself and have that confidence in yourself to succeed.
Wonderful. And I will add, burn no bridges. You will look back and 20 years from now, you might see somebody that you want to burn no bridges in your career. It will hurt you. And you want to pick your head up, especially for those that are really technical. It is not just around the technical skills, as many people have talked about today. Pick your head up, look around what's happening in your business, and learn to be a good business partner. You define what success looks like for you, not somebody else. So make sure that you take your own power and define what success looks like for you. The last question in our last 3 minutes are people are asking, how can we get more women and more diversity in cybersecurity? What are some of the things that you could offer to have people be more broad in terms of getting women and or diverse people into cybersecurity? A couple people had mentioned Philadelphia Women in Cyber. It's an organization that many of us were instrumental in starting in the Philadelphia region. There's also a national organization, and our goal is to just try to promote people who want to be in cybersecurity that are women. So I encourage you to do that, to look there. I also encourage you to apply for jobs. More women who apply, more women will likely get jobs, because if you're not applying, you're never going to get them. So apply for those jobs, get really good interview skills, learn how to get through the interview process so you can get to those jobs. Does anybody else want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I would say, and to segue into what you're saying, you don't have to check every box on that job description. In fact, go for those jobs where you don't check those boxes and see what questions you're asked. And from there, go back and research and grow. And then the next interview, you'll have more answers. And then maybe by the 5th interview, you feel more qualified and you've been able to answer all the questions and you get the job. So don't be afraid to stretch yourself. In fact, you're going to grow and be more successful if you put yourself out there on that ledge to go to the next level.
Perfect.
It's such a great point, you know, to look at that job description, Anahi, and apply even if you don't check every box. I had someone that worked for me that actually did a skills gap assessment against the role and told me what her what her shortfalls were and what her plan was to get that training. I hired her. She's still with the company today. So don't be afraid to apply for that job if you don't check 100% of the requirements.
Perfect. Anything else to add to that, Tammy?
No, I mean, I think everybody said what my thoughts were, right? You know, don't short yourself. You know, if you think you can do the job, but you don't check all the boxes, apply anyway.
Yeah, and interviewing is a skill. You need to practice those skills. So
Absolutely.
Practice the skills on jobs you don't want versus jobs you really do, but apply, apply, apply. So with that, in our 30 seconds left to go, I'd like to say a big thank you to Tammy, to Donna, and to Anahi for sharing your thoughts and your perspectives. I thank the audience for providing your questions, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank
you all, ladies.
Thanks, everyone.